Okay, we made it. We made it through 2025. All the big changes, but there's just one more left still, and this is the best one. So we saved the best for last this year, and it's Jupiter being exalted in Cancer. And I made a free guide for this because it's such a big one. So you can check it out at quietmindastrology.com/Jupiter in Cancer 2025. And you can download it for free, and the link is in the show notes as well. And this is a big one. It's going to affect all of us generally more positively. It's a sense of hopefulness, optimism, growth, and expansion. And I'm going to talk about how it affects us all overall for all of us in this episode. And then I'll do sign by sign horoscopes on the next episode for your rising and moon sign. Because this stuff is going to affect everybody relatively equally that I'm going to talk about today. And some people in the tropical Western astrology are like, I thought Jupiter was already in Cancer. Well, it is in the tropical system, but that's not true to astronomy. And if you want to check the astronomy, you can always just go to Stellarium web or any stargazing app or website and just see for yourself. And you can watch, if you're watching the video, Jupiter is just moving to the edge of Cancer at the end of 2025, bringing us a glimmer of hope and optimism, but it's going back to Gemini throughout 2026 in the beginning. And then on June 1st, Jupiter fully goes into Cancer and stays there. It's going to go all the way over to Leo at the end of 2026, and it's going to come back to Cancer in 2027. So it's an interesting ride that we're going on here from the end of 2025 and then mid 26 and then the beginning of 27. We've got this Jupiter and Cancer energy to work with, which again is overall very positive, optimistic, and hopeful. And in the free guide, there's space for you to set your intention for this cycle, which I recommend doing anytime we move into a new big energy that's going to have a big effect like this for over a year and a half. Is how do you want to work with it? Knowing that's coming in, what do you want to do with it? And Jupiter can bring expansion and opportunities wherever it is. Cancer brings a nurturing warmth wherever it is. So, how do you want to work with those? Maybe you want to deepen your relationship and your intimacy. I'll have a free workshop about relationship astrology coming up at quietmindastrology.com/relationships. This is going to be live, interactive, super awesome, super fun, and talk about everything to do with synastry, relationships, compatibility, what to look for in like Atmakarika, Darakarika, overlaying the charts, some of the technical things, but it's going to be really fun and interactive, and that's free as well. I love to share this stuff. And as I'm recording this, Sun just moved into Libra, so that's bringing in some interesting dynamics and relationships to find harmony. And Jupiter moving into Cancer overall is very positive. So that's at quietmindastrology.com/relationships. Hope you can join us there. And with every energy, there's a potential positive, negative, and neutral expression. So generally, the Jupiter in Cancer is more positive. Generally, Sun in Libra is more negative. So it's kind of a mixed energy here at the end of the year, but it's bringing in more hope and optimism. And I have all the dates laid out for you on the free guide if you want that reference. And we'll be going into this a bit more at the workshop as well. But the most important thing to note again is it's the end of 25, the middle of 26, and the beginning of 27. We have this Jupiter in Cancer exalted positive energy, but it's especially strong in mid 26. That's June 26 until August 26 when Jupiter's in Pushya just for 61 days, but that's the most nurturing part of this. Like anything to do with family, home, nurturing, providing, caring, very, very strong in mid 26. Right now, Jupiter's in Punarvasu, which is more about the return of optimism and hopefulness. So just like every atom in your body has a proton, electron, and neutron, you have this potential positive, negative, and neutral expression of things. This is very positive. So basically just a few weeks here, mid-October until mid-November, to look at potential new future visions of your life. One thing I've done recently is go back to, I did this really intensive workshop and training retreat years ago to uncover my own personal mission in life. And that's still resonant and true for me. That's still something I come back to. So with Punarvasu, it's like a return of your vision, of your clarity, of what you want to create in your life. overall, again, very positive, and it will come back in mid 26 as well. We'll have this Punarvasu Cancer energy. But we're going to have this dip back to Gemini. And as I've talked about, Jupiter in Gemini is considered a great enemy placement. So from this time of December 5th until March 10th, we're going back to things that came up since August 12th to October 18th. So the things of the late mid 25 are also themes of the beginning of 26 and going back to those themes. And whenever a planet retrogrades, the RE words are RE relevant. So reviewing, revising, revisiting, anything like that with Jupiter is about your beliefs, your values, your sense of growth in life. And in Gemini, it's the ideas and information that you take in. So this time from December 6th to March 10th is good for going back over lessons that you've learned, wisdom that you've gained, teachers that you've worked with, and kind of consolidating, processing, integrating those lessons. Anything to do with socialization, friendships, communication, and things where you can do those things in community or with people, talking with people, processing things with people, and community is very favorable from December 5th to March 10th, like going back to a community you're part of, or reconnecting with a path that you've been on. But overall, that's more positive. Even though Jupiter in Gemini is considered great enemy, it's a challenging placement. As I've talked about this year, it could create a sense of like overwhelm, information overwhelm, AI exploding and affecting so many different markets and jobs. And it's a bit overwhelming. But as Jupiter goes to Cancer, it's much more grounding. There's already talk of people saying like the AI bubble is popping, and we may see even stronger effect of that by around mid 26 when we get back to Jupiter in Cancer, and then we're done with Jupiter in Gemini for 12 years. So that's a bit of a relief. Like it's a big relief coming in June. Right now it's a reprieve of late October, but we're not done with those lessons yet. We still need to integrate things that have come up throughout this year since May 14th this year when Jupiter first entered Gemini. And it was in Mrigashira at that point, spent a little time in Ardra, but a lot of the time is in Punarvasu. So that's nice. That's a lighter energy. It's a hopeful energy. So basically this whole window from August 25 to June 26, there's a lot of potential of growth, expansion, learning, new possibilities overall for everybody. So yes, it's good, it's hopeful, it's positive, but there is potential of naivety, overconfidence, overabundance, overexpansion, growing too fast and not being able to integrate it. So with both of these transits, grounding is very important. Jupiter is a giant planet. It almost had the material to be a star like our sun. It's very big. So it represents all things that have to do with expansion and growth. And sometimes when we bring on those energies, we can grow too much and hit a limit. So it's helpful to have a sense of groundedness, like feet on the ground if you can. It's actually, if you live in a big city and you're just going from like home to office to car, it's actually pretty easy to never touch your feet on the ground of the earth. So making sure you're doing that over this cycle, basically pretty much the whole cycle until we finish it in mid 27, just to keep yourself grounded and connected to the earth, like anything that works for you. If you're watching the video, you're probably wondering, why am I wearing this thing around my shoulders? It's just like a grounding pillow. It's like helping my shoulders relax, just to demonstrate the Jupiter grounding kind of things we can be doing. And it feels nice. It takes a little pressure off the shoulders. And you can heat those up, and those are really nice. But with expansion, typically that's more of a yang activity. So the yin energies might need some more attention, which generally Jupiter in Cancer is very good for that. And people who have it in their birth chart, like, tend to be really good fathers and parents and really family oriented, and mothers as well. And I just happen to have a lot of male charts with Jupiter in Cancer, because Jupiter tends to be the father energy or husband energy in a chart. And when you have those together, these people really care about their kids and their family. So anything to do with connecting with the family and ancestry is very favorable with Jupiter in Cancer. But with all that yang energy, More yin practices, kapha practices are beneficial. Like for me recently, this year, with all of the big movements and the transits, and in my personal life, experiencing those transits, I've had a lot of emotion move through my system, like maybe more than ever. And my left side of my body has been very tight. So I've been doing a lot of work with that, seeing a body worker, yoga practices, and things to release that tension to the left side. And it's a slow process. Those things are related to really deep things from the past. And as I talked about with the Pluto retrograde this year and the Saturn retrograde, like uncovering deep stuff from the past, breaking through old patterns and beliefs. Those are all big themes that have been going on this year for everybody. So you might want to check in with your left side of your body, which is the yin, feminine side of the body, regardless of gender. We all have both. And the right side is the yang, masculine. If you've been more in the masculine side of your body this year and the masculine expression of your life and activity and doing, then your right side might need some more attention and might be a little bit more tense. But the left side is more about being and feeling in the present moment and also processing things potentially from the past that were unprocessed. But you might find that helpful to do something to care for that side. And throughout this whole transit, nurturing and caring for yourself is very important, especially in the middle of it, June 18th to August 18th. It's kind of a shame. Jupiter's moving so fast over really still the next like 5 years. Jupiter's moving very fast through the signs in this way, and it's only going to have about 2 months in Pushya, which is the most Cancer of the Cancer nakshatras. And that time, basically mid 26, can be a very nurturing, healing, family oriented, warm kind of energy. But we'll talk about that when we get to it later in the future episodes. But we have this overview to look at from, again, it's late 25 to mid 27 is the whole time of Jupiter in Cancer, not just the end of 25. And it's two retrograde cycles through here, going back to Gemini and going forward to Leo, back to Cancer. So we're kind of coming in and out of a few different energies over this time period. It's more challenging here at the beginning, coming out of Jupiter and Gemini. And the information overload and overwhelm may have been a big factor for you. But overall, now we're moving into more positive, harmonious energies for everybody. So now we'll go a little deeper into what's in the guide and read along with you through the guide. And when Jupiter is going direct, we are more expanding, growing, like breathing in. And when Jupiter goes retrograde, it's like we're exhaling and letting go and going more inward. So we do have two Jupiter retrogrades through this whole window from November 11th to December 5th, 25, and then at the beginning of 27. So the overview, again, Jupiter in Cancer amplifies emotional wisdom, intuition, and faith in life's natural timing. It's a cycle of nurturing expansion, learning to grow through care, empathy, and trust rather than force. This period supports building foundations that feel safe, authentic, and aligned with heart-based purpose. The overall major themes here, Jupiter in Cancer, based on the research I've done with thousands of case studies and seeing people who have Jupiter in Cancer, they can be great visionaries, very influential, emotionally intelligent. And again, this is the natives, but it's also like these energies are now amplified for everybody, being morally driven, bringing more expansion into our lives. There's a charisma, creativity, a philosophical nature that you're connecting more deeply to, nurturing, and purpose orientation. And that purpose part is like the provider or protector, or the wanting to nurture and sustain, like being able to have food and shelter and take care of family and things like that. And the four aims of life, we'll talk about health, wealth, relationships, and purpose. And again, if you want to go deeper in relationships, I'm doing a live workshop just about that. I'll link in the show notes. For your health, as I mentioned, prioritize grounding routines and things that nourish you. Rest and hydration are very important, as Cancer is a water sign. So taking care of water. You could have some issues with water or bloating or things like this with this transit. There's potential for weight gain as well. So just being intentional with your diet. The Cancer influence highlights sensitivity to emotions and digestion. So listen to your body's wisdom. And Things like anxiety, fear are often felt in the gut, in the stomach, butterflies in the stomach, nervousness. So just making sure you're taking care of your diet and the foods that keep the Agni strong, the fire in the belly strong throughout this cycle. Healing comes through slowing down, reconnecting to nature, like feet on the ground, and caring for your home environment as an extension of your inner world. So everything to do with home is kind of up for attention at this time. And those of you who are like Aries rising, we'll talk about the rising and moon signs in the next episode, but you might be moving home during this transit, the Aries rising and moons, because that's especially affecting there. For wealth, this transit rewards emotional intelligence in business and finances. So this is the time to build sustainable income through service, teaching, and mentorship. The guru. So in Sanskrit, Jupiter is guru, the one who brings light into the darkness. So when you are doing that, when you are connected to teachers, guides, and mentors, being a guide, teacher, or mentor yourself, this is a very favorable energy for this transit for everybody. Security is the key word here. So invest in stability over risk. This is not the time to do a bunch of very speculative investing or high risk kind of things. There can be a great increase of prosperity and abundance overall for everybody. Jupiter supports expansion through generosity, trust, and consistent effort rooted in values, not vanity. So this is like donating to causes you care about and not telling anybody anonymously, or volunteering and not bragging about it, not taking pictures, just doing it to help. Uh, Essentially, the frequency of abundance is giving. Like if you want to be in abundance yourself, then there has to be a channel where things can flow through you. And to give something away means you have it. If you can't give it away, you probably don't have it, or you're trying to grip onto it. But that's the nature of life. Like everything is temporary. Even if you grip onto it, at most you're going to get like 120 years and it's going to someone else, or it's going to perish or something. You know, we can't hold on to things forever. So when we let go and trust and we give and we're generous, more flows through us. It's just being a conduit for it. And money is a currency, and Cancer is a water sign which has currents. So when we talk about currency, there's a flow and movement. And we can use that in terms of electricity, and there's a movement of life force, of energy. And when we are letting things go, we're being generous, we're in that flow of that currency, then we're in the flow of abundance. For relationships, Cancer energy deepens bonds through empathy, protection, and mutual growth. It's such a sweet, warm, nurturing energy. Family matters, both biological and chosen, come into focus. Relationships thrive when you balance giving with receiving. Let vulnerability become your strength and lead with care rather than control. So, vulnerability is sometimes looked at as weakness, but Jupiter in Cancer is a time to really open your heart, and hopefully in a safe place. If somebody's not receptive to it, that's not the place to do it. Not everybody's going to be receptive to it. But this balance of giving and receiving is very important as well. Like, be generous, give, but just be aware that you're not being taken from, or somebody's being selfish or something like that. That's not healthy. There's an important need for the Mars energy to come in to have boundaries, Saturn to come in to have boundaries. Jupiter is aspecting Saturn throughout this whole transit, most of it, and because Saturn's in Pisces and Jupiter's aspecting Pisces. So that's a need for expansion of boundaries. So you might need to set some more boundaries in your life and be a little more firm about the containers of time and energy that you set up for yourself. It could be on the negative side an expansion of obstacles and challenges, but that's a minor factor here because Jupiter is now ruling Saturn. It's a nice reversal where we had Saturn ruling Jupiter recently over the past few years. And now we have this nice place where Saturn, the boundaries, the tasks, the limits, the challenges, has to answer to the benevolent guru and guide and teacher, like what's going to be the best spiritually. So there's a great potential for growing a lot spiritually at this time, like going on retreats, deepening your meditation practice, and very good time to have a regular sadhana, spiritual practice for yourself and with your partner. So in the relationship, this can bring very beautiful depth of intimacy and connection sexually and emotionally and spiritually. So it's a really good time to share some sort of spiritual practice with your partner and connect on a very deep level. For purpose, the last of the four aims of life, this exalted Jupiter is renewing faith in your path. Very hopeful, positive energy, especially and when it's in Punarvasu in late 25 and mid 26. Now you're guided to align career and dharma with heart and intuition. Very nice energy. This is a season to teach, mentor, and uplift others by embodying your values. What you nurture now becomes your legacy of emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity. Jupiter is growth, expansion, leaders, guidance. So you can grow a lot at this time, and it's aspecting Saturn, which is long term. There can be a lot of long term growth and impact, things like legacy, leaving an impact. If you've thought about, like, what's your big vision of your life, or if you want to write a book or start a business or something like that, especially in the Punarvasu part at the end, again, late 25, mid 26, it's really good for starting anything. Anything you want to start that has to do with like changing the format, structure, boundaries of your life, starting a family, starting a relationship, getting married, starting a business. These are all very positive things around this time, auspicious for everybody. I touched on some of the aspects, but while Jupiter is in Cancer, it's aspecting Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces. So that's activating more transformation in our lives, more stability with Capricorn, and a lot of spiritual growth with Pisces. Pisces aspect here, people who have their moon in Pisces have Sadhisati happening right now. So this whole cycle, basically the mid 25 to mid 20 or late 25 to mid 27, brings a lot of relief for those of you in Sadhisati with your moon in Pisces. More hopefulness, more optimism. It's coming in and out through the retrogrades, but overall, it's a nice relief through the Sadhisati. Not everybody gets that Jupiter relief on their Sadhisati. So, a nice thing to be grateful for. And essentially, if you have been, this started, well, for people with moon in Pisces, this would have started about 3 years ago now. Started your Sadhisati, and you're getting towards the middle. So, you're going to have a total of 7.5 years, right? So, you've got like 4 more years of this. And this brings a lot of relief for about 2 of those years. So that's nice. And essentially more possibility, more perspective, more guides and mentors in your life to help you through the challenges of Sadhisati. But for everybody, you can expect some breakthroughs in your faith, your spiritual path, the boundaries in your life. If you've been stuck with trying to set boundaries or negotiate what you need in your life and the structure of your life, and the general overall resilience increases for everybody, especially where intuition meets discipline, like having a regular practice or a regular routine in your work and your path that requires some level of intuitive presence and thinking. These things come together really nice throughout this transit. And then in the next episode, I'll talk about the rising and moon signs. So that's in the free download, and I'll walk us through that in the next episode. So you'll want to get your free birth chart at my site if you don't have it already, quietmindastrology.com. Look for your rising and moon sign, and I'll meet you in the next episode to talk about that. And again, you can get this free guide at quietmindastrology.com and also sign up for the relationships workshop. It's going to be awesome, and it's a great way to harness this energy over the next 1.5 years or more or so, over until mid 27, to work with this amazing energy of Jupiter in Cancer. All right. So I look forward to sharing more with you next time on the Quiet Mind Astrology Podcast.